individual that would be connected to the government would be listed as one of the owners or on the bill of sale of this jet that crashed with 4 tons of cocaine.
They were extremely corrupt agents to commit every kind of crime imaginable against the American people with the protection of those agencies. You talk about 4 tons of cocaine. Any kind of corruption you could imagine occurs. I don't know. I'm starting to call you our undercover journalist out there because what you're doing, if you were working for me back when I was a squad leader and country attaché for the Drug Enforcement Administration, I'd be telling you, Bill, look, watch your back, because these guys that you're picking at, it may come a time when Congress will actually do something, and then they'll have to start offing guys like you and me and Mark, because they don't want it out there. What do you think?
Well, this is one of those stories that there actually has been a little bit of coverage out there in the mainstream press, the McClatchy Bureau and the Tampa Tribune. Some good reporters have gotten pieces of this. Then when you start tracing the ownership trail on this thing, just 2 weeks before it took off from Florida, it was sold to these 2 individuals. The company that had bought it was called Donna Blue Aircraft, and that was owned by a couple of Brazilians. And we talked to one of those guys, and he claims, they're just a broker, essentially. They had no idea what was going on. And he sent us the bill of sale. On the bill of sale are the names of 2 individuals, a Clyde O'Connor and a Greg Smith. So that's, who was in possession of this aircraft when it crashed. However, that bill of sale never got registered with the FAA. The Brazilian guy said, well, they told me to put it in escrow and hold it for a week or so I never filed it with the FAA. But the bill of sale actually exists. And that's been reported. So we've been following the trail of one of the individuals, this Greg Smith, if that's his real name. But anyway, that pilot, he was a pilot that worked for the government, essentially, back in 97 through 2000. There was a DEA investigation, which coincidentally also involved the FBI, although the DEA and FBI didn't supposedly know, or at least the DEA didn't know the FBI was involved. Yeah, and it also involved the CIA. That's all documented. I mean, one of the things on these investigations is...
Yeah, but the pilot was Greg Smith.
The pilot was Greg Smith. This pilot, Greg Smith, clearly flew 25 to 30 trips as part of this DEA, FBI undercover operation targeting Colombian narco traffickers.
Sure.
Which is another long story, but essentially as part of that operation, the DEA guys involved and uncovered a trail of corruption involving DEA, the U.S. Embassy, and leaks out of the U.S. Embassy that led to informants getting whacked. And these were supposedly corrupt U.S. law enforcers working out of Bogota who were involved with narco traffickers, and allegations that they were involved in money laundering for the paramilitaries, etc. So this particular pilot was brought in by the FBI. Some suspicion that he was also an operative of the agency, because the CIA was very involved in that operation. Anything that went on as they were flying these missions into Latin America, the CIA is providing cover for it, and they show up multiple times in the paperwork. This is DEA paperwork and documents that exist. That's why I say there's a paper trail on this, and following these kind of stories, it's too easy to get into foil land and say, well, this guy knows this guy and blah, blah, blah. But these are actually documents that exist. And so this Greg Smith, we were trying to determine, well, is it the same Greg Smith that was on the bill of sale for the Coke jet that crashed in late September? And so we got the signatures from some of the corporate filings back in the DEA mission and compared them to the signature of this Greg Smith on the bill of sale. And well, Mike, you saw the signature.
Yeah, in fact, I've got them in front of me now. My testimony before grand juries has been accepted as, having spent a lot of time comparing exemplars in my work as an investigator for 4 different federal agencies, and I would offer an opinion, in that regard, and it would be accepted. This is the same signature. Compare the 2 signatures of the 2 people who gave the name Greg Smith. You decide for yourself whether the informant who'd flown missions for Central Intelligence and for FBI and for DEA is the same guy who signed both documents. And